Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to the SHC Business Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Sisk, and today we'll be featuring Armando Rodriguez-Castro, business partner and manager of Aztecas, San Miguel, and de Maiz, the best Mexican restaurants in town. In today's episode, we'll be talking about restaurant industry trends, lucrative profit margins with Mexican food, and his innovative expansion plan. Good morning, Armando.
Good morning, Ethan. How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell me about the decision process in starting a new brand of restaurants. De Maiz specifically.
Yeah. So it all started about 2 years ago. We kind of sat down and said, we started with Aztecas, right? 25 years ago. And then we opened San Miguel. But we really just wanted to veer off from the traditional Mexican atmosphere that we've been creating for the past few years. And we just really wanted to modernize it. Bring that Miami flair to Mobile, because a lot of the restaurants here don't have that feel that you have when you go to Miami or you go to a nice restaurant on Tulum, So we wanted to bring that atmosphere and that kind of different aspect to the Mexican restaurant here in Mobile. And so we kind of brainstormed for a while and said, what kind of food can we bring? What kind of look can we give this new brand? And so that we came up with the Maiz. And it's done well ever since. We've also been learning a lot, taking a lot of feedback from the customers. And right now we're actually trying to kind of implement that feedback currently.
And there's two locations?
Two locations. So our first one was in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And then we just opened one in West Mobile about 2.5 months ago.
I saw the grand opening on LinkedIn. It looked great.
I know, yeah. A lot of people came out. It was a great time.
What is the feedback from customers so far?
So far, a lot of it's positive.
Good.
Thankfully, a lot of positive feedback. But of course, you'll get your constructive criticism, right? That we love. It was one of the best things about having those reviews, right? Is knowing what you need to work on, what you need to improve on. And so a lot of the things we've been seeing is just some tweaking that we have to do with the dishes, right? That in just in the first weeks, you kind of notice, the kitchen's kind of really needing a lot more time with these. And so we take time, behind the scenes and work on those and try to perfect them. And then hopefully the customers come back and try it again and be like, oh, okay, this is a lot better than the first time I tried it, right?
Are you all still implementing the tactic of responding to reviews on Google and Yelp?
So a lot of our marketing team, social media team, they try to respond to every single review, good or bad, and just trying to get more information out of the customer, right? Either through the reviews or personally through email. We try to reach out to them and be like, hey, we saw your review. We would like to get more information on that, or give us more feedback so we can, improve for the future.
I think it's super personalized, and it's just like an olive branch that I feel most people don't utilize. Because I was fortunate enough to have an internship with Aztecas in San Miguel, and I saw the marketing lady go through each one and, kind of, how to go about this one. And I'm not sure it's a thing that most restaurants do.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time, and it takes, people that are capable of responding to those messages and reviews in a professional manner, Because you don't want to sound argumentative at all. You want to just be understanding and really really look at the interview or look at the review and take it for what it's worth.
Right. What was the hardest part in opening up the new restaurants?
Hardest part is just not knowing how people are going to react.
Because for the other San Miguel and Aztecas, y'all had the template and kind of already the customer base just expanded.
We had the brand name was already out there, and it's so it is kind of scary, when you first want to open up a new brand in a new area, because we don't have anything in Pascagoula, so we just were hoping for the best, and we knew it was a strong brand to start, right? We knew we had a very great menu, great drinks, and just we knew that we had built a good atmosphere in the restaurant, because we did do a soft opening with family and friends before, and they loved it, and so we were like, okay, we felt a little bit more confident when it came to opening to the public. And thankfully, we actually had the mayor of Pascagoula there in the soft opening, and he gave us great reviews. And so we were like, okay, great.
That's
we have
huge.
the mayor, we have the mayor on our backs, so that was great. And so once we opened, it was a great turnout, and it's been great ever since.
How much time was in between the soft opening and the grand opening?
About a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was quick. That soft opening is really just for us to figure out what drinks we need to work on before the grand opening, what food needs some work, and just the flow of everything to see if anything needs to get tweaked before we actually open, because then you don't want to have something go wrong the day that you open, right? And have to do it on the spot. So then the soft opening just kind of gives us a good idea where we're at.
Did you guys bring servers from the ongoing locations?
We did. So we brought a lot of the servers from our Azteca location, Gaucher, Mississippi, and a lot of them from Gulfport. And so whenever we opened, we tried to have people that had experience with us before, but we also had some new people that we hired before. A lot of the hostess, a lot of our bussers, bartenders, those are pretty new, but a lot of the servers are the ones that we really want to have people that are experienced, right?
Right.
But then after we're open for a few months, then we'll hire on new people, and those new servers will get trained, right? Get trained by the veteran employees that we've had for a while.
Gotcha. How important is it to follow trends in the industry, like for drinks specifically?
For drinks, so a lot of the things we try to pull from are either restaurants we've been to. So our family, we love to travel, right? And so we go to Mexico a lot. We're going on like cruises. We'll go to Miami. We love going to Miami.
Can those be write-offs for a business learning trip?
I know that's kind of what we try to take from everything. Even though we'll travel, right, for business or for pleasure, right, you still want to learn from it no matter what. And so whenever we go visit our family in Los Angeles and in California, we try to visit new restaurants every single time, right? And see what are they doing different? So for example, I think about 2 years ago, we went to Los Angeles to visit our family for Thanksgiving, and we went to this vegan Mexican restaurant, right? And it was different. It was like we didn't know it was vegan until we started looking at the menu. We were like, "There's no meat on this menu," and we were like, "Okay." So we were like, "We'll try it," right? We never had tried a vegan restaurant before, and we ended up loving it. And my dad, if you knew my dad, he loves his meats, right?
Right.
And so he didn't think he was gonna like it so much, but he did. And so he took a lot of those ideas for a vegan menu, right? And so he implemented the tacos de papa, which are potato tacos, the cauliflower tacos that he didn't have in the menu before. And then they had a few drinks that were kind of on the spicier side, but he was like, we don't have this on the menu either. So he kind of took that and said, I'm going to make my own twist on it, right? And so we definitely do take a lot of the ideas from other restaurants that we've been to, but we always try to put our own twists, right? So we don't want to directly copy anything. So we just kind of take inspiration and go from there.
That's great.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about traveling, right? You get to experience new things everywhere you go.
Cultures. What's next on the travel itinerary for you guys?
Next for us, so right now we are currently working on Maiz and Biloxi. And so that one is still in the early stages, but we are really trying to open by late fall.
So then there'll be 3 after
There'll be
that.
3 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many San Miguel's and Aztecas are outstanding?
Currently, we have San Miguel and Aztecas. We have 10. Yeah.
Of each?
10
10
altogether. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then we have the Maiz, we have Pascagoula and West Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have Biloxi later this year. And then downtown Mobile is early next year.
That one's going to be super exciting to see.
It's going to be great, especially for downtown.
Mm-hmm. Especially Mardi Gras and the margaritas, I think it'll go perfectly.
I know. We're really trying to kind of play with some ideas for downtown, especially for Mardi Gras, you know, and all those art walks that they have. I think it's every second Friday of the month, if I'm not mistaken. But we really want to see if we can do like a margarita, kind of like a margarita stand kind of thing. So instead of you having to go way like into the bar order, you can just order from the street at that point, right? So we'll have like a little to go margarita station. We're still trying to kind of play with some ideas with that as well.
What street would it be off of?
It's on Dolphin Street.
Nice. Yeah. In the heart.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you've ever been to the cathedral downtown, it's right beside the cathedral on Dolphin Street, about a block away from the Spot of Tea.
Yes, exactly.
So it's in a great area.
Do you guys rent the properties or do you buy them?
You are talking about downtown specifically?
Or yes, but also your other ones.
Downtown. So downtown we actually own. So we bought. It's the whole complex that includes the restaurant and the apartments upstairs. So it was more of an investment for us, you know, in the beginning because we don't have a restaurant there yet, but we have the apartments, which that really helps out, you know, to kind of pay for the maintenance and everything of the building.
How many units?
8. Yeah, so it has one bedroom loft and then 7 2-bedroom apartments.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's I mean it's a great location if you wanna live downtown.
Yeah. Is it full occupancy right now?
Right now, yes, we have all of the 2-bedroom apartments completely rented, and then we have the 1-bedroom. It's on Airbnb.
Good.
Yeah, so then that one kind of stays about 20 days out of the month. I'll stay rented out.
How are the margins on the Airbnb only being like? What's the price?
I mean,
profits?
Of course, Airbnb, you'll kind of go by the market. And so right now, it's listed through our property management team, and so they look at the market and see how everything is in the area, and then they'll list it according to that. And the rental properties, or all the apartments, those also go by market value. And so right now, as you know, renting is pretty high.
Yeah.
And so we try to stay pretty competitive.
Okay.
And then you asked about all the other restaurants that we have. So currently we have 2 that we pay rent for. Our Ocean Springs location and Maiz and West Mobile. We pay rent for, but all the other ones we own.
Do you just pay rent because you needed that location?
We saw potential in that location, and usually they're either in shopping centers or something like that of the sense, and so they're we can't own, but we can invest. So either they give us like a kind of an amount that we can put into the building, and then we use that amount to renovate, to make our renovations and improvements. Yeah. But sometimes we will go a little bit over just to perfect it and really make it what we want. And we'll kind of use money out of pocket for that. But other than that, we really try to see if we can own the building or just fully have like our partners invest in one area instead of having to rent, because you know you have to keep redoing the leases for those buildings, right? Usually every 5 years.
Those landlords, man, they hit the gold mine. Y'all aren't going anywhere.
I know, right? I mean, we attract a lot, and especially for West Mobile, we're the only ones there, except for, I mean, there's the Publix, of course. They own the entire shopping center, but there's a liquor store and us. And so right now, we're the main ones there. They're hoping it'll attract other people to come in the shopping center as well.
You were talking about like getting other investors. How much family is involved in y'all's federation?
So currently, so the first restaurant that my dad opened, right? It was Azteca's in Timon's Corner. He actually worked at a restaurant called Los Rancheros, right? Which you probably heard of.
Yeah.
That's owned by Ruben Jimenez, which he's the one that gave my dad a job in the first place whenever he got here. And he gave him a job, and he just worked with him in the restaurants for a good while, just, learning how to do everything from dishwashing, busing, food running, serving, managing. And then after a few years as manager, my dad was like, I had this idea, right? I really want to open my own restaurant, but I need an investor. And so Ruben was very generous with him and said, you know what? I believe in you, right? And he was his primary investor in Azteca and Someone's Corner. And thank God, because, he wouldn't have ever been able to start what he has now or really or grow to what he has now, because Ruben really just took a chance. And he went with it, and it turned out really well for him. So it all started there. And then, so Ruben is our primary investor, right, in the restaurants. And then it's my dad, who has, he owns primarily all the restaurants with Ruben. And then my uncle, Orlando Godoy.
Yes.
You've probably met him before. He's also one of the investors for a lot of the Mississippi locations and some of the Maiz locations as well.
Where does your dad come from?
So my dad was born in the state of Querétaro, Mexico. That's about, if you look at a map, it's about 2 hours north of Mexico City. So you kind of put the distance, it's about from here to New Orleans.
Okay.
So it's pretty close to Mexico City. But, Querétaro is a pretty big city in itself. He was born practically in the middle of nowhere. It's a little pueblo called La Polvadera. I can't pronounce it, but La Polvadera. It's a street. It's literally just a street with like maybe 8 houses on it. And then you go up another 2 miles, and it's a little small town. So he was really born in a ranch in Mexico.
What age did he come to the U.S.?
He was about my age. I'd say early 20s, so about 2021. That's when he came to the U.S.
And he came straight to Mobile?
So he was in the area, but he went to Fort Walton Beach first. And then he worked there, and then he went to Louisiana for a little bit because he had family there, right? And then he had some family come to Mobile, and so that's how he met Ruben, because the family that he came with started with Ruben, and he kind of got introduced to him in a way, and so he started working with Ruben in Los Rancheros, and that's where he started off in Mobile. So he wouldn't have come here if it weren't for those different opportunities that he had.
So y'all are the restaurants are in Alabama and Mississippi right now?
Right now,
Do you
currently.
have plans to go to Florida?
We do. Right now, we really want to expand to the Gulf Shores area.
Would that be a De Maiz, or which brand would go there?
Most likely, just because of the area, would be a De Maiz. Just because of the kind of like that more beachy kind of vibe that you get from De Maiz. A little bit more tropical in a way. We think De Maiz would do really well. But we do want to expand to Florida and eventually northern Alabama as well. I kind of was going around and trying to see if we could start looking at the college towns, right? So going to Tuscaloosa or Auburn or Birmingham, and trying to expand there. Kind of with a smaller, still do like a de Maiz, but with a smaller menu. You know, so you'll have like your classics, your burritos, your tacos, your quesadillas, burritos, stuff like that. But just trying to really make it smaller, kind of make the menu smaller, so it could be more like quick service. You know.
What's the reasoning? Like, what do you think college kids they wouldn't take access of the extensive menu?
I feel like a lot of, just from being a college kid, you love to just go in and out, right? You like to go in, pick what you want. So a lot of the newer chains or restaurants nowadays are going more towards kind of like a line of food. So you start with your base, right? You start with a bowl. You start with a burrito or a quesadilla.
Like the Chipotles and Cavas.
Yeah, exactly. And you build it from there. So that's kind of what I want to do. But with the de Maiz twist, you know?
Wow. That would be a masterpiece.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I feel like that'll be a great idea, especially to start in a college town. So I really want to see the opportunities that we would have in Auburn, Tuscaloosa, even going to like Florida, going to Gainesville, stuff like that.
Would you add more alcohol options in a college town?
I feel like I would definitely expand the drink menu and add more margarita flavors. Add some special items that you won't find anywhere else, right? Just for the area. That'd be great to have.
Is catering a big business of y'all's?
Yeah, so especially for our Azteca's brand, a lot of people love to cater from us, especially like the larger hospitals. A lot of the events that we get are, you know, wedding parties, birthday parties, a lot of schools, like, you know, a lot of schools that don't really have a cafeteria, and so they'll cater from different areas, and so we get like at least once or twice a week we'll cater to a school for about 200 kids, and so it's a great business for us as well. So you'll have, you know, in catering, it's a little bit more streamlined, and so you'll have your fajitas, your tacos, your quesadillas. We do wings because we do offer wings. Yeah. So we offer only for de Maiz doesn't have wings, but Aztecas and San Miguel we still offer wings and stuff like that. Nachos. So it's a lot of your family friendly dishes that we try to cater, and those do really well.
I'd assume so, man.
I mean, who doesn't like a whole taco bar to choose from?
Oh,
you know,
I love them. I'd go in.
Yeah.
How many people really know that the 3 restaurants are all under one roof?
I'd say a lot of the locals can kind of figure it out, but they'll come in and be like, "Do y'all are y'all part of the Azteca San Miguel family?" I'm like, yes, we are. But a lot of people that really haven't tried or aren't really aware or familiar with us, they don't think we're associated at all. But a lot of our loyal customers, they love to support us, and they'll be like, "Oh, are y'all part of the Maiz, or do y'all own the Maiz?" And we're like, "Yes, but we're really trying to make it a whole different brand, you know."
I remember I was talking to Jesus a while back, and first of all, he's got a great story starting as a busboy and now to the role he's in, head of supply chain. But he was saying one time someone went up to him, and I guess they were unhappy with the service at Azteca's. They're like, "Fine, I'm going to San Miguel." Like, they didn't really know that it's the same people.
Family.
Yeah. So I thought that was
and
funny.
a lot of people, you know, of course they'll have their favorites, right? Like they'll have multiple Azteca's locations, but they'll only go to this one, just because, you know, they have been going there from the start. They know their people there. They have their favorite server there. They love their bartenders. So you'll have, even though it's the same menu, same food, you'll kind of have a certain affection towards a certain restaurant, right? I mean, I feel like that's with everyone.
Yeah.
You have your favorite restaurant, no matter what, they'll always go there. But that's the great thing about having such a huge customer base is that you get to hear from a lot of people, and so you'll be like, even we like to go sit at different locations and see how everything is with quality control, right? And try to see if it's all holding together and with our standards. And so we like to try, go to Saraland, go to the one in Gulfport, go to Tillman's Corner, and see if the customers are all satisfied. Because if you're not there, you don't know, right?
Right.
So that's one of the most important things you can do, especially, is just being or trying to be everywhere all at once, even though sometimes you can't. But even going once a month to Gulfport or going to Saraland, you get a good idea of how it is.
Especially as a customer, if you see the owners in the restaurant eating too, it's like, whoa, like
it's not just they're not just here to like look around, right?
Yeah, they're checking in, and it's less transactional.
Exactly.
Speaking to the large customer base, do you guys keep stats on how many actual customers you have?
We do. We try to see usually through we try to see through our social media, and see it through our impressions, through the amount of people that we get seeing our posts and stuff like that. But also, I mean, we also have our customers that are loyal customers that we see every day, right? You'll see have the manager there or the servers there be like, oh, they come at least 3 times a week or twice a week. But right now we're really trying to see who are we getting in that's new and staying, right? Not just people that go try and then don't come back. Though we're really trying to get new customers in and hopefully have them come back, every week, every 2 weeks. And so that's where the key is trying to see or trying to find what will keep customers coming back,
So is it a lot of trial and error for promotional tactics?
It is, yeah, with our marketing campaigns and stuff like that. We have some stuff that does really well, some stuff doesn't. And so it's trial and error to see what attracts, what people in the area find attractive about a certain thing that we will post or a certain promotion we'll have. So right now, that's the biggest thing with the Maiz is trial and error with the marketing, right?
What is a promotional tactic that's done well in the past?
Well, a lot of people like to see familiar faces, that we found. So a lot of the posts that we're doing now include like a lot of the actual employees, a lot of the actual customers. So we love to post videos of the bartenders making a drink.
Because then when you go in, I feel like when you see people on social media, you don't know. When you see them in real life, it's like a superhero status.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost.
It's like, oh my God, I saw you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even whenever we first opened Pascagoula, and I was on the social media, and they'll come in and be like, oh, I saw you on Instagram or Facebook. I'm like, yeah, that was me. So it's cool to have those people recognize you, right? And they'll be like, oh, like you made me want to come, So it's great to have that kind of feeling that you get from social media, and it reflects back on the business, right? And so right now we're trying to focus on that and follow the trends, which is it's a lot harder than you think because a trend can last a day or two,
Right.
and it's gone, and so you really have to be on top of it.
Which one's hot right now?
Right now, so we try to focus either on mainstream or kind of on the food side. And so a lot of this stuff, that you saw on the food side a while ago was the birria tacos, right? That was a hot topic on the mainstream food like TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. And so we implemented that pretty quickly. But then we started doing like certain drinks. So even though it's not as authentic Mexican, we kind of put a twist on like the espresso martini. So right now, a lot of the big drink right now is the espresso martini, but we did it with tequila.
That's
you know?
dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah, so we did it with tequila to put that Mexican twist to it, and people actually love it. They loved it, and we did it for a special. So we haven't done it on we haven't implemented it as a permanent thing on the menu, but it was a special and it did really well.
Okay.
And so we're working to see if we actually make it permanent for the drink menu.
Besides alcohol and desserts, which food items have the highest profit margins?
You'll be surprised. The cheese dip.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The cheese dip is one of the things that has the highest profit margins for us. And that's
I would
something
not have
that,
guessed that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people think like, oh, it's like the tacos or whatever. No, it's the quesadillas, the chimichangas, the enchiladas, the queso. All those things are very simple, yet a lot of people love, and that's what really brings in the profits for us.
My uncle told me that the average margins on Mexican food are 65 to 70%.
Yes,
Is that true?
that's true. Especially, of course, our margaritas.
Oh yeah,
And that's a huge thing. And that's really why you have to perfect the simple things, because that's what people love, right?
Mm-hmm.
They love coming in for their chips and salsa, for their queso, for their margarita on the rocks, right? Frozen margaritas, all those things that people expect to be great at a Mexican restaurant is what you have to always have right. Because then if you don't have the basis there, then everything else is gonna fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So if you figure out how to be consistent in everything that really matters and really brings in the profits, then you can implement different things, and because that's where you try to get your inspiration from, is from what you started with. So you say, oh, this works, but we can do this and kind of make it different, make it fun. And so that's what we try to do. It's really, really make sure that everything else is doing well before we start doing something else.
Master the craft.
Master the craft, exactly.
Have you guys considered franchising the family business?
We have thought about it, yes, but I feel like that's something that I want to be able to do, but not with a whole family-owned restaurant. I want to do it more with something that what I talked about with the college towns and stuff like that. I really want to streamline the menu and make it just kind of like go by the basics, right? And the things that do well. And so just selling those bowls, those burritos, the tacos, and having it kind of like that Chipotle Cava style.
Yeah.
But with the Maiz twist, And that's what I kind of have been trying to figure out these past couple months. Just trying to see what's really doing well right now. What do people want? Because people, those things that might be working now might not work in a few months or a year or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to see what will actually stick.
But simplicity is always king, and
exactly,
like the Chipotles and Cavas, you know what you get every single time.
Exactly, because to franchise something, you have to make it simple enough, like very simple, so it's easy for the franchisee to open and be successful. So there is little room for error, right?
Yeah, it's dummy proof.
Exactly. That's what makes a great franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Cane's. Like, Raising Cane's started from a small place in Baton Rouge, right? And now they have over 800 locations. So that's what they perfected, is just making it so simple that you can't mess up. And you always, no matter where you go in, what Cane's you go in the U.S., you always get the same thing. So it's just trying to find that consistency in all the locations and seeing how everything just works for them is really what kind of drives me to come up with something like that, but Mexican, right?
Yeah.
And so you really got to think about it and brainstorm and come up with different ideas and see what you think will work, what won't work, and also getting feedback. So that's why I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. Kind of not open anything yet, but kind of see what people think, right? So hopefully, like, even through the Maiz, I can be like, oh, like, people really like this. What can I do with this, right?
Well, I can't wait to follow along and see what happens with that.
I'm excited
that'd be so cool. Would one of the restaurant brands be interested in athletic sponsorships for Spring Hill?
Yeah, of course. We do that with Aztecas right now. So Aztecas sponsored the cheerleading team at Spring Hill. We sponsor a lot of local high schools. We sponsored the South Alabama Jaguars for a while, the football team. Because whenever, they opened that new stadium, they came to us and said, hey, like, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. And so we did sponsor them for a few seasons. But yeah, we're always open to supporting local schools.
Cool, because I'm working with the athletic director a little bit on what companies would be interested, and y'all were first on my list.
No, yeah, we'll definitely be interested in that.
What's the business side of y'all sponsoring someone? Is it more of a donation, or do you really think you get traction from doing that?
So a lot of the times we try to support the local schools, but if we really want to get a big sponsorship, that's where we kind of think about it and see how will it actually help us, So, with the Jaguars, that was a big sponsorship for us. But we really saw a lot of benefits in it just because you get your name out there to a lot of a huge fan base. So all the people that love the Jaguars go to the stadium, go to the games, go to the tailgates, and then they see your name.
You're part of the community.
Exactly, everywhere. So that's when it comes to those big sponsorships, we really try to think about how we're gonna go about those. But with the smaller ones, we just really want to support local schools, local businesses. So it's really just about what's gonna be beneficial for the community and for us.
Gotcha. Well, we definitely want to keep supporting y'all too. I love the food, and
thank you.
The people running it are even better.
I know. I always see people from Spring Hill come in.
And that's special.
Recognize them and say, "Hey, thank you for coming. How was everything?" Try to. And I also try to stay in touch with everyone. So even my old professors like Dr. J, Dr. L. I see Miss Stacy. She's always coming in. So
I know Dr. Gapoot's a big fan.
Dr. Gapoot's a huge fan. No, she loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she even a lot of the times in her class, she was like, "Where's my quesadilla? Where's my queso?" Now I always said, "Oh, like, come in and I'll give it to you for free, no matter what." And so it's great to have those people that, love to come in and love to see you, especially.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you.
Certainly.
And I hope also your experience was great with us as well.
It was. I interned for about 3 months, and just the boss would come in, your dad, and he'd go find me counting items on a shelf and say, "How's your day? What do you think of this?" And I just think it's really easy for an employee like me to buy in when the head guy is asking you for feedback and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most important things you can do.
Certainly.
Is ask for feedback from your employees, because they are the ones that experience it day by day when you're not there,
Right.
But
that's the plan. Y'all got a great, tremendous blueprint, and
thank you.
It's awesome to look from the outside in.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. I would like to personally thank everyone who tuned into this episode of the SHC Division of Business podcast. Our aim is to give young professionals insight into their desired field or potential job of choice. If you gain anything from this, or have any compassion whatsoever, please share with someone you see fit.